Good evening, everybody, and welcome to WOR Tier 1 Console Edition. That is right. I am joined by none other than the PlayStation Master, James Head. Welcome along for this one, James. I'm glad to have you alongside me. You know some of these PlayStation guys a hell of a lot more than I do. So we can put our combined knowledge together, I think, and make an incredible team.
Yeah, we can indeed. We can indeed. It's obviously going to be very interesting because it is Baku, it is Azerbaijan. It is going to be very interesting for these guys. How on earth they're going to cope with the trials and tribulations of this track, I don't know. But qualifying is just beginning as well, which is obviously the main thing. And of course, it is Baku. Anything can probably happen in here.
Anything can indeed. I'll do a quick rundown of the standings, and Rusty has an incredible 30-point lead after 2 rounds over VSR Smokey in second place. Sav getting that penalty late on last time out on 19 points, and Cindery in fourth on 18. So it's all close together from second all the way down to 10th, which is VSR Jack, which is nice to see as well. And there is a TF Legend in there as well, and that's it's a good name to have in that top 10.
It is a very good name to have in that top 10. Legend, of course, I think was pretty much on PlayStation, certainly last season in PSGL. He was certainly the one to watch out for. Took the American win by 20 seconds, I think it was, in intermediate conditions. Beat the likes of Tom, beat the likes of Fabi. And all of these, of course, represent each other tonight out on track. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get on.
So let's get right back onto the action. Well, I say right back onto the action. It's already 14 and a half minutes left of the session. It's that... It's been a little bit of a delayed ones, but we are on board with NRX Cindery, who's flying high in here at Tier 1 at the moment. It'll be interesting to see how he can continue on. But there's Rusty with his first lap time of a 1:38.9. Levi, his teammate, coming in 1:39.1. So, actually, Rusty's pretty much... You can't get much closer than that to be a dead-on 1:39.0, can you?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And Skater actually just going quick there with a 1:38.8. Rusty, though, looking very good so far. Of course, the championship leader coming in tonight, I should say 30 points advantage over everyone else. And he's doing a fantastic job, of course, from the Xbox guy. Relatively new. He was behind Otis Lovins, of course. Same with BSL Smokey. They were behind Otis Lovins last season in Season 13 of Xbox. So to see them now, Otis, of course, going to PC, gives them that big opportunity to shine. And Rusty and Smokey, actually, now second and third, which is proving that fact.
Yeah, it's GGYT Magician throwing himself right into the mix there. Someone that has got incredible one-lap pace, and he just needs to just push that into race pace, and he could be someone incredible in the league racing scene. And Eric Cindery then nearly going straight on his outlap. I don't know why I kept on for him for so long. Someone that we really need to keep an eye out for is PSR Wilson, and his teammate goes just top for the time being. But the two PSR guys are incredible, and I tell you what, if anyone's going to beat Rusty this season, it's going to be one of these two. And I think Ryan Jacobs has still tipped Wilson for the championship out of all this as well. But looking at it all at the moment, everyone's setting a competitive lap time other than PSR Fern and Fabi. Fabi's just put himself on for it now, and he is put himself P16 at the moment. Here comes Fern. It's only 18th at the moment for the Ferrari driver. And from an outside perspective of seasons 14 so far, James, who do you reckon is the one to watch from a PlayStation side of things at the moment?
PlayStation side of things, I've got to be honest, more the likes of Fabi, I think. The German is doing a fantastic job so far. I mean, he's down in 16th in qualifying so far, 39.4, currently his best lap. But he, on one-lap pace, is probably up there with the likes of the Xbox guys, with the likes of Wilson and Sav, as you mentioned there. Tom as well, one-lap pace is incredible around here in Baku. Watch out for him, 39.7. Obviously not representative at all in terms of his lap time. But the real difficulty is, obviously, because we are cross-play, it is a real difficulty for all of these guys, of course, to come in, basically put a one-lap pace together, one lap in, and then obviously try and deliver that lap upon lap in this qualifying session. Obviously with 18 minutes and, of course, the sprint and feature race to come, it is going to be fascinating to see as Sav currently out on top, Wilson in second, Kimber there in third, and another man that is actually making his debut from the PS side tonight as well as TF10 Markados. Markados, very familiar to anybody that might be on the PlayStation side. PSGL F1 driver, of course, formerly PSGL F3, which I used to commentate on as well. And he's there down in 15th. He might be one to watch out for as well.
Yeah, I've just noticed, and Crispy's thrown it in the chat as well. It's a PSR 1, 2, 3, 4 right now, which is incredible consistency from the PSR guys. They're looking really top notch at the moment. But it's good to hear about some of these drivers at the TF10 oh god, Markados. We'll go with Markados. I don't know why I'm trying to say Markadukas or whatever, but I may need to get some glasses for myself right now because I don't know what is going on. But with Baku, it's kind of a special track, isn't it? It's close like Monaco, but you can get overtaking done here. It's probably up there with one of the most entertaining street tracks for overtaking.
Oh, definitely. So I think it takes a leaf out of the book of Valencia back in the 2010s. And Valencia was one of those tracks where it was very tight-knit. Of course, they used to cross the bridge. They used to cross, of course, the middle sector. That middle sector, of course, Hamilton, I think it was Maldonado that made contact. Or was it Hamilton and Grosjean? One of the two, I think, that made contact in 2012. That was the last ever race, of course, held in Valencia. So I liken this track. But obviously, Baku, old meets the new, as I like to call it on the PlayStation side. Of course, we've got the Flame Towers, famously hosted Eurovision in 2012 as well, if nobody knew that. But we are going to get, I think, the second runs out on track very soon. We are nearly halfway through qualifying. Sav, Wilson, Kimber, currently the top three. But yeah, the Flame Towers, of course, if you come through the right-hand return number 7, the Flame Towers are basically overhanging the circuit, and that's where the modern circuit meets the old, of course, in terms of the castle section. And those are the real corners to watch out for, the castle section. I was saying to you just before we came live, try to go around the outside of the castle section once in my league racing career. That's why I'm probably better in the commentary box than these guys out on track.
Your stats about this track are incredible, James. I love it. There are plenty of cars on track right now. I'm going to go on board with VSR Smoke. Well, I have been on board with Smokey. Let's see what he can do. Not the start of the season he would have wanted. I think he would have preferred to be a little bit more competitive in both tracks, but I'm sure he's going to give us an eyeful at the moment. And is it a worry? It isn't a PlayStation versus Xbox event, and I need to make that clear. But there's no PlayStation guys higher than Jensen, who is currently P14. Is it just banker laps that they've set, do you reckon? Or could it be a track that they struggle at?
I think, honestly, it's a bit of a generic thing when it comes to crossplay. I think Xbox are always quicker than the PlayStation guys when it comes to crossplay, and that's why you're seeing so many Xbox guys up towards the top end of the field. Sav, Wilson, Kimber, currently the top three, all on Xbox. Best places, you say, Jensen, Markados, Fabi, they're all in a bit of a line together, actually, 14th down to 16th. Smokey, by the way, through the first sector, 34.8 in the first sector. Flame Towers overhanging the circuit, coming in towards the right-hand return number 7, as well as now we come through in towards my infamous castle section moment at turn number 8, which shouldn't be to be laughed at in the comment section whatsoever, as he now comes through basically through right on the 111 and then through the left-hand return number 12. But back to your point, yeah, I totally agree. I think Xbox probably are more dominant than the PlayStation side, and that is just a generic thing what I've seen certainly on this game. And maybe Xbox are more OP than PlayStation, but if a PlayStation guy's on pole by the end of the session, then maybe there's not that generic thing that I'm on about, as Smokey is 2/10 up in the middle sector.
Yeah, Smokey's looking solid at the moment, and it wasn't the case on at Monaco for the Legacy division. The Xbox guys really struggled against the PlayStation drivers at Monaco, but this is a completely different track, and some changes happening at the moment. Where does Smokey throw himself? It's P3 for the Mercedes driver at the moment. Let's see what Kimber can do. Is he rounds turn 4, I think, there. Obviously, he was running towards the top at early doors, but he's now down to P5. It is incredibly tight, though, between Smokey, Rusty, and Timber. That you can't really get much closer between those guys at the moment.
Magician goes second as well, 38.5. Very good lap from him, improved about 3/10 in that final sector. And that is the real key. The middle sector will really define a lap, I think, around this track. Magician's middle sector was absolutely brilliant. He was 3/10 up, as I say, out of that middle sector split, improved another 10th in the final sector. So Magician there in second. he has got a little bit of wizardry potentially about him going into second position, and that is the start of my puns for tonight as well, which I'm hoping that Gareth will get used to as the night goes on. But Sav is out on top, Magician second, Wilson then third. Wilson, though, he's responding middle sector. Purple out of everyone in the middle sector, 114.4 combined, a tenth and a half up, and he is looking to try and go maybe ahead of Sav, who's currently out on top there, 135.5, 138.5. Well, I need glasses. Already got them on, but Sav out on top, Magician there in second, Wilson there in third, Smokey and Fern actually, who goes fourth, is just ahead of Smokey. Is now Wilson on the run line. Should go pole, I think, this lap. And he does indeed. 138.4, 2.5 tenths up on his lap. And Wilson currently out on top from Sav in second. And still that Red Bull 1-2.
Cracking from the two PSR drivers there. At the moment, Sav is just getting a lap set up. It's gone board with MVR Axe. But we have lost a driver at the exit of turn 3. And that is YI Choco. So not ideal for him. He's going to start no higher than 10th. And with some of the drivers that are behind him, PSR Nick I'm looking at, who's not yet set a great lap time, I'm certain are going to go above him. He could be in real trouble here tonight. I did see a McLaren as well with no front wing. That could very well be Jabraka in P20. And that is something that I think in the race tonight we're going to have a lot of is... front wing damage is very easily done here. And with 5 minutes left of qualifying remaining, we could see a few more cars pushing too much and clipping any sort of wall. Even, I have noticed before, even with other drivers, as Axe throws himself P14 for the time being. And I've yet to see the best of PSR Nick. And he is someone that really took it to Otis Lawrence towards the end of last season, taking victory after victory after victory away from Otis. And... you know what? Currently P15, that is a shock for me right now.
P15, yeah. I think he's obviously invalidated on this lap. He's coming back in the pit lane at the minute. But yeah, Nick down in 15th position. He really needs to get, I think, a bit more pace about him. Certainly a bit more consistency as well. It is a track where, of course, you normally fall foul of the curbs. You normally fall foul, of course, of the walls. And it's so tight-knit. It's basically like Monaco, just with an old and new feeling. And it's one of those tracks where Nick, I think, is potentially struggling at this stage. 139.1, as I say there, down in 15. Jensen is just starting up on another run. I think he's actually coming through into the left-hand turn number 15. Unlike, though, one of the commentaries that I've done on this game in PlayStation on the side, certainly, we had a race, sprint and feature race, 3 safety cars in the sprint, 5 safety cars in the feature race. Hopefully that doesn't happen tonight.
Let's hope not, but I can almost guarantee that we'll have at least one safety car tonight. And if it's my luck, it's probably going to be with 2 laps, well, with a few laps remaining, not 2 laps remaining. Well, I think we're going to have 2 laps remaining, racing at the end for people to get going. But here comes PSR Sav then into sector 3, turning very close to the wall of turn 19. That's what he wants, a little kick now to the 20. Don't do too much of the turning angle as he comes down into the speed trap, and it's going to be pretty high. I know we don't get to see that speed trap, but he's used nearly all of his ERS and has crossed the line. And again, it's pole by nearly a tenth of a second to his teammate. These two, the Red Bull guys, look like they are on fire.
Yeah, and that car as well, just rejoining circuit coming out turn number 1 was Jensen. He just started up on his lap coming through turn number 1. I think he's bounced on the outside curb and then he spun in the left-hand wall. I think he's got away with it, though. But obviously, that is not a confidence booster at all from Jensen. Of course, the Season 12 champion on the PlayStation side, down there in 17th position. I'd normally expect him to be up toward the top end of the field, but these Xbox guys are absolute ghosts. They are taking it to Jensen at this stage. And Jensen there down in 17th is paying the price. Tom there in 19th. And still, quickest out of the PlayStation guys is Markedos, who's just actually exited the pit lane there in P8. TF10 man is doing a fantastic job, but Savad on top, Wilson in second, Magician there in third. The big question now, though, is, Gareth, whether or not these drivers are actually going to improve on their lap times. And if they don't, this could be the session as it stands right at the end of qualifying.
Definitely. And, oh, there goes Stonks. He has gone and spun it into the exit of the pit lane. He's just clipped a little bit too much of the curb, and I think he might have hit the wall at the exit of turn 1. And that has cost the Aston Martin guy big time. He's a Tier 2 champion of Xbox last season. I'm really struggling, unfortunately, for that. I think we've got Jabraka, who could very well be on a lap time. But, you know, this is all now. It's pretty much a one-shot quali, because this is how I see Baku is, when it comes down to this, is similar to Monaco. There is so much pressure on this final lap. Doesn't matter how many laps you've done before, how much practice you put in. It's just down to this one, and some people don't handle the pressure as well as others. And we will wait and see. Obviously now, with a minute and 20, I think, remaining, how much the pressure gets to some of these guys. Sav has decided, you know, I've done my last lap. I'm in a good way. But Jabraka is up on his time, so he might be able to get away with not being last on the grid. But it's really, really weird to see Shizou Tom down in 19th place.
Yeah, Tom down 19th. Oh, your bracket nearly clips the wall on the right-hand side, coming out of turn number 9, very close to the wall from the German. He's doing a good job, though, for the VIR team. Of course, VIR have been a real explosive team, I think, on this game. Certainly in smaller events that I've been covering, smaller team events, I should say, that I've been covering. Your bracket is good, but Tom down in 19th position. The Shizou boys, Jensen as well, in 17th. They're underperforming, I think, so far in this qualifying session. Your bracket did lose a bit of time in that middle sector, 115.5 combined in the middle sector. Everyone that was now started up on their final runs, I can certainly see the likes of Wilson just starting up on their own, coming in towards turn 1. Magician, I think, is coming out of turn number 3 as well. There's already Mercedes that has spun and actually crashed out on track. I think that was actually Fabi. Fabi is out the session now, down in 11th position. 38.9 is his best lap. Your bracket to the line. In the end, only goes 18th. The Stonks is also retired. That's actually in the pit lane. Next up, I think, to set up a lap is, if I'm not mistaken, one of the Mercedes. There's also Ferrari, I think, a Fern coming to the line, 114.7, and Fern looking to try and go maybe quicker than Magician with this lap, and he doesn't in the end. He does improve on his time, 38.6, not a bad run at all. Smokey, however, coming through the middle sector, 3/10 up, 114.5 in the middle sector. Smokey now, hopefully smoking by the end of this lap.
He is absolutely doing everything, giving it full beans as he goes down there, but he's only improved by a tiny amount. And out of all this, Choco's retired so long ago, as there goes Rusty going into P3. He's still in P10. Choco has actually found the golden duck, I think. He has been absolutely through it all, and there goes Shizou Tom. That's the Shizou Tom we know, up into P3.
Oh.
He was holding it back a little bit there as we've just lost someone behind, but PSR Wilson is on a faster lap. He is up on his time. Can he snatch pole away from his teammate PSR Sav?
He was a bit aggressive, actually, coming out of turn 19. You will lose speed down the straight, so Wilson might actually lose a potential position to go top here. But Wilson on the run to the line. Does he go top? Just about 17 hundredths of a second. Very close indeed from Wilson. We see, I think, Sinderi going into 13th. Axe is on the run to the line as well, or Axe is on the run to the line as well for the NMVR man, and he's there in 16th. Ibraka is down his lap, and I'm afraid that is the end of qualifying. It is Wilson out on top. Sav in second, a PSR 1-2. Who else but the PSR 1-2 out on top? Certainly in the Red Bulls. Tom there in third, doing best of the PS guys. That is that is the real Tom that I certainly know of. And it should be very fascinating to see how he copes with this track. Baku is one of his favourites. I know he's trained very hard for this race as well. But of course, double the racing tonight, because we have got the sprint first and then the feature race.
Yeah, do not forget about that. That is the big selling point, I guess, for this track. Is it's great to have that sprint race, because you know what? There is so much action that could happen. It could all flip on its head in an instant, and we could see a complete different run out through it all. But Jabraka did have a front wing damage, so he is really pushing, and it just wasn't to be. Stonks being down in 20th place. You know, a few issues already for some of these drivers, so it could spice things up when it comes down to it. But you know what? We've got the positionals there. I'm going to go to the Williams advert, which is great for WOR, and I think it's happened to a few others as well. It's such a good little event there and everything. So enjoy. There's the standings one last time, but we will go over to how things are looking in full qualifying. There we go. Just go down the order a little bit. Cider in 7th. Someone that didn't really give much notice about. 6, sorry. Someone we didn't really give much notice about. And he's a very, very good driver. Gave Otis a run for his money last season in Division or Tier 1 of WOR. So something definitely to keep an eye out for. Is a driver that can do very, very well. But from all that, from your side of things, how did you enjoy obviously the mixture of talent that we've got on show as a console base?
Honestly, I think it's absolutely fantastic, and obviously the likes of Otis Lorenz, Jono Upme, famously as well, was formerly PS. He's obviously moved to PC. These guys are potentially going to move to PC, but we should be glad that we've got them right now, because Wilson and Sav obviously produced absolutely great qualifying lap times. Tom there in 3rd, really diversifying, I think, the top 3 as well. The PlayStation man doing a fantastic job. But now really comes the big tests out on track, the real trials and tribulations of this circuit here at Baku. It is going to be fascinating to watch out for. Put your comments in the predictions if you do. Put your predictions, I should say, in the comments if you do want to, of course, get in touch with us here tonight in the live chat. I have got it up on my right-hand side, so if you see me looking down, it is probably why that I'm looking at the live chat. So you guys, I hope are very friendly. I really hope you're very friendly. I knew you guys were from Season 13, so hopefully you are guys again for Season 14, as I think the race is about to begin in beautiful blue sky and sunshine conditions.
Yeah, thankfully no rain, because I know Baku in the rain is something. That's the best way to describe it. It is something. But these guys can handle any sort of pressure. We're obviously just finalising a few last bits for these guys, and the countdowner is on. I'm going to give you the chart. Who's going to win this sprint race?
I'm going to go Wilson for the win. I might cause a bit of a ruckus, I think, that in the comment section. But yeah, Wilson, I think, for the win. I'm going to go. I hope Tom does perform well. I'm going to put him in 2nd just to diversify it up. And for 3rd, I'm going to go, unfortunately, for Sav. It's a bit of a baseline top 3.
It is a little bit, but I think you're right. Let's head over then to... the countdown timer was on, but here we go. We're waiting for all 5 lights here at WR Console Tier 1. Which of the Red Bulls is going to get underway really well? And we've already got a drive-through for a couple of the guys, and that is not ideal for them. And it looks like Choco with a big drive-through penalty, as well as possibly one of the PlayStation guys. I didn't know which one. Maybe Jensen, I think, maybe. But some of this is all heads down at the moment. Rusty holding position at the moment, but he's got Smokey all over the back of him. And positionally, Smokey's had a great start. Magician and Scyther have not. And there is a driver left. Fern is left. I hope that is not anything problematic for him. And into turn number 3, McCabe, Sam and Levi battling away. But I think Choco's dropped massively. I wonder what's happened to Choco, as there's Jensen in the wall as well.
I think Choco was actually letting everyone through. There's 4 drivers with drive-through penalties. Fern, as you mentioned, left the session. Choco's got to drive through. He was the one that absolutely cascaded his way through the field even before the 5 red lights went out. Axie has got to drive through, and Jensen right down the back of the field, the PlayStation man, Season 12 champion, he's got to drive through penalty as well. But Wilson out in front, coming through the castle section for the first time, is A10 clear from Sav there in 2nd, Tom there in 3rd. So pretty much the top 3 have remained as they are, apart from, of course, that change out in front with Wilson now out on top. In fact, he was always out on top in qualifying. I don't know why I was saying that, but yeah, Wilson out on top, Sav there in 2nd, Tom there in 3rd, Rusty there in 4th. He's got Smokey who's getting 3 positions right on the back of him. There's a mistake further down the field. I think that was that Magician who made a mistake. The Alpine up the inside on the Aston Martin goes clean around the outside though. Scather, that is, around the outside of Magician. Gets the job done. A Magician not looking like a Magician at this stage. He's there in 7th. Markadol's there in 8th. And Sam McCabe with a good start as well in 9th. And Levi ran off the top 10. Kimber and Sindri 11th and 12th. And Nick and Stonks have also gained positions 6 and 4 positions gained respectively, as we are nearly getting side by side, I think, down into towards turn 1 between Levi and Sam. Everyone, though, calming themselves down, which is good to see. And everyone as well, apart from the guys that are coming into the pit lane, all in a set of mediums. Yeah,
this is weird what we witnessed at the beginning there, but Magician trying to pull out a trick of his sleeve. I'm taking a trick of your book as well there, James. But yeah, Magician trying to get back at Scyther, but it doesn't look like he had the pace. He had a mistake into turn 19, I think. Not 19, sorry. Into or the exit of turn 15 and costing big time and a position as well. Scyther doing a great job, though, trying to get back into Smokey. But Tom nearly lost ground to the front two. That DRS is going to be crucial for him if he wants to keep up with them. And he's teetering on the edge right now, and that's not what he wants. He's desperate to try and keep ahead of those two, keep in touch with those two Red Bulls. But they are flying. The Red Bulls literally have got wings because they are out and about right now. And this is crazy from them, just a class above.
Yeah, class above at this stage. Tom has got much more less ERS compared to Rusty and Sav, who are in front and behind him. And Rusty has got 46% of ERS. Tom is having to use up, burn basically the battery just to get in DRS range. DRS is not online until the next lap around. I think the first DRS detection point is coming out in towards turn number 3. So Tom has really got to try and capitalise on this. He's now within a second. And again, the timing screen just flick about slightly. So he's outside of a second again. Rusty there in 4th, Smokey there in 5th, are trying to hunt him down. And speaking of hunting down, Levi right on the back of Sam McCabe. The speed of the Haas definitely telling down the straight. He's on the back there of the Ferrari, of the Alfa Romeo, I should say, down in towards turn number 1. Levi might pull to the inside line. In the end, doesn't want to risk it, and I don't blame him, to be honest, because contact around here is quite deadly. Levi there and still in 10th, Sam McCabe there down in 9th, but Wilson leads the way, Sav in 2nd, Tom in 3rd, and Tom really teetering on the brink, and look at his ERS, he's run out of ERS.
Yeah, Tom is in trouble. Markados is trying to get on to Magician as well. He got very close, and it's all single file at the moment. No 2x2 like the Arc. It's all 1x1. Choco retires from the session. He's done it in the pit lane. He knows it's not going to be enough. Well, there's still time to redeem himself, but he's going to be starting at the back of the grid for that one. Yellow flag, and I think that's for his car. But Tom, getting the fastest lap of the race, he's agonisingly teetering on that 1 second marker again, like he was last lap. He just, I think, straight line speed, he's got it.
He has got it, and through the corners, through the castle section, he loses a good 0.3 of a second. He was about 0.9 of a second coming out of turn number 7. Through the end of the castle section, he's 1.2 seconds behind. So Tom clearly losing in terms of downforce. He's got Rusty right on the back of him. Championship leader, remember, as well. 30 points the advantage coming into tonight over, of course, Smokey, who's currently in 2nd on 20 points. But Rusty, not looking rusty at this stage. Of course, he is a championship leader for a reason, as Tom does Tony Hawk style there on the outside curve, coming of 18, and then in toward the left-hander, or the right-hander, I should say, of 18 and 19, the little chicane, and now down the straight. This looks absolutely easy from Rusty. He can only use his ERS. He's got 16% of it left. I don't think he'll even need it, because Smokey might even get through in this as well. But Rusty pulls the inside line. Smokey is absolutely flying on the back of Tom, and both of them are going to cascade through down and towards turn number 1. Beautiful move by them both. Rusty leads that. Rusty into 3rd. Smokey there in 4th. Leads the train for now, and Tom has been outdone by the Xbox guys. Into 5th he goes, and Tom just simply does not have the pace early on.
No, he doesn't. Maybe it's the tyres. I know a lot of people struggle with certain tyre lives. Here comes Magician going up the inside of Scyther. He thinks better of it into turn 3. But yeah, Tom, double being, well, dropped by 2 places. But crucially, it's nearly 2 seconds between the front two and Rusty in 3rd place. Tom's trying to get back at Smokey. He's found his rhythm again. He didn't lose it for too long, but he's all over the back of the Mercedes as Smokey, as they round through turns 6 and into turn 7 now. But Smokey has I don't know. I think Smokey might have for some unknown reason, has a better acceleration speed. But look, this is a lovely camera angle as they come through the castle section, and it's all nice and tidy. No front wings flying off at the moment, and Scyther again. Actually, Scyther's looking like he's going to attack Shazoo Tom as they come through this middle sector.
It makes me wonder, actually, does Tom have a little bit of damage potentially on his car? Because he is losing through that middle sector chunks of time. Another 4/10 loss compared to Smokey and Rusty. It might just be the generic thing that I was saying about the Xbox guys being simply quicker than the PlayStation guys. I don't think that's the case. I think Tom's got either an underlying issue, or he might have a little bit of front wing damage, potentially on the right side end plate, I think is where it might be. Magician now, though, is sizing up the Aston Martin and Sky. He's doing a good job, though. He's got at this stage the American, but Magician now is going to try and make pay. Round the outside now, down the straight, Sam McCabe and Levi also changing positions. The Magician now is third, and he's into 6th position, and just like a lot, he gains a spot. Sam McCabe still on the back of Levi, looks to the inside line of turn number 1 as well, but in the end, Levi there in 9th catches the outside curve on exit. Luckily gets away with it, though, and he's up to P9, and Magician up to P6 as well, and he can be the next one now to challenge Tom, who simply does not have any pace at this stage. Wilson are leading the way, Sav there in second, and the Red Bulls are 4.5 tenths separating each other, 2 seconds clear of Rusty. This looks like a Red Bull domination job early in the sprint in, of course, Azerbaijan.
Yeah, this is, well, we're halfway through this sprint race as things stand, and Smokey doesn't seem to have an answer to Rusty. Rusty doesn't have an answer to the top two, but something that might be costing Tom more time as well is he's playing with very little ERS to his advantage as well, and now I think double his ERS is Magician. Magician has double the amount of ERS than Tom, so it's going to be an easy overtake at some stage, especially with Tom making another mistake out the exit of turn 12. That's not what he needs. This is uncharacteristic from Tom. He doesn't usually have this like rustiness to him.
Definitely not. Tom there in fifth is doing a good job. He's going to be within a second of DRS, but he ideally needs Markados to pass Scather, I think, at this stage, and then Markados get past Magician, because Markados is absolutely charging on the back of the American here in the Aston Martin. In 8th position, he looks like he could get this job done even before the Camels come home, and he looks to the outside line now, through the final corner, down the straight, onto the inside line, in towards turn 1. This should be job done for Markados. Magician as well, trying to attack Tom in the foreground of shot, but Markados through, and he's into 7th position, and that is absolutely ideal now for Tom, because he needs Markados really to back him up. It might become like a PlayStation versus Xbox event, but I'm all for it, because Markados really needs to bring that pace about him. He's got the pace, Tom doesn't, and Tom actually does need help at this stage.
Yeah, it looks like Magician's going for Tom as well. After a poor start for Magician, he started to find his feet a little bit as well, but Tom's found his feet again as things stand, and for the first time this season, Tom survived turn 1. Or lap 1, I think is the best way to describe it. But I suppose we still have the feature race to go, so he could not have issues there. And I hope I haven't just jinxed the poor man, because that could be something it is something I have, I'm known for. But Scyther then I don't know what's wrong with Scyther as well. His pace just seems a little off at the moment. But the TF10 Markados has just made a mistake.
Markados on the outside curve. I was just above them there. He has nearly gone for full cold ground moment coming out of turn number 12. That was a really good save for Markados. It cost him time. He's still got the pace. But my, oh my, that was a real shock to me. I've literally got my head in the hands at this stage. And again, coming out of turn 17, he's all over the place. And Skyler now is siding his way down for P7.
Yeah, Scyther's looking for a little bit of revenge on the McLaren driver as they come through turn 20 now. Opening the DRS surely is not going to be too far away, but I think Markados is going to have his open as well. Will he dart to the inside, or will he try to go around the outside of the McLaren, or does he just stick behind a little bit longer? He thinks better of it for the time being, and he's staying in P8. Stonks, after starting last, is now up into P13 after getting past NRX Cindery. Let's go on board. I think Tom is finding his feet. He's finally found his feet on lap 7, and is closing in on Smokey as they head through turn 3. And it's a little bit. I think a lot of these guys don't want to make too much of a move or anything in this sprint race, because it's a sprint race. It's minimal points, and it's just one of those things. Would you think that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, definitely. So I don't think drivers want to risk each other out on track. Cindery, by the way, has just had a spin coming out of turn number 5, I think it was. The right-hander coming out the first sector, as Tom has, I think, lost it coming out of the castle section. Got very close to the wall. Magician now through on him. Not sure what led up to that. I didn't see it on my camera angle, certainly. I'm not sure if you did, Gareth.
It looks like he went deep into the castle section, and then Magician... that was weird. And there goes Levi. He's lost it at turn 15. That was really, really weird camera action that was for Shazoo Tom. But it looked like Magician kind of drove through him, but didn't drive through him and pushed him into the wall because Tom was in a wall. It wasn't Magician's fault, I know that much. But it was very, very weird to see. Shazoo Tom now down to P6, and Levi making that big mistake. That's going to cost him big time. Is McCabe Sam going to get PSR Kimber as they come down the straight? It looks like he's going to get close, but I don't think he's going to be close enough as they go into turn 1. not on this time. And the two Red Bulls, I don't think they're going to swap positions or anything like that. They're just happy going the way they are on lap 8 of 9. It's been while strategic, it's been an entertaining sprint race.
It has been a really entertaining sprint race. I think McCabe Sam on the back of Kimber. Kimber had a really big moment coming out of turn number 1. Luckily, though, still in 9th position. Goes a bit deep in towards turn number 3. He's under pressure there. Everyone watching on the balcony, of course. Beautiful bird's eye view of this circuit as well here in Azerbaijan. But Wilson and Sav, we haven't really covered them, to be honest, out in front, because they haven't really done anything out in front. They're still first and second, still within 0.6 of a second on each other, doing a fantastic job. Rusty there in third. Just hasn't seemed to have the pace. He is catching now within the final 2 laps of the race, but it's too little too late. Of course, I think these guys want position more than anything. Tom, though, on the back of Magician. Again, finding his feet through the middle sector. That was a lot better than last time around from Tom. He's got Marcados right on the back of him. And honestly, Marcados looks like he could get the pair of them down in towards turn number 1. He is so quick in that McLaren. I'd like to have his setup that he's on at this stage. Marcados there in 7th on the back of Tom. And it could be potentially 3 wide and towards turn 1 if they play their cards right.
It'll be very, very interesting. It's the one I'm going to be keeping an eye on as they come down through turn 16 into the little kinks of 17, 18, 19 and 20. It's all just little slight movements through this. Can't lose too much time, but I think Tom has struggled a little bit. He is catching back up now, but this is going to go 3 wide surely at one point. Tom is saving ERS. To the right-hand side goes Magician. Is Marcados going to have... No, Marcados has to back out because there's just not enough road.
And actually goes to the inside of turn number 2 now. Brilliant switchback actually from Marcados. On now on the inside line for turn number 2. Don't normally go side by side. That, though, makes it look quite easy. Marcados through and he's into stick. There was no contact there. I think Magician just locked up completely on the right-hand side. Therefore went into the wall. I think he got away with that. I think it was tyre on wall contact rather than front wing on wall contact. And Marcados there in 6th, Magician there in 7th. And now, actually, as a result of that move, Skyther, Kimber, McCabe Sam, Levi, Nick all joining the party. We've got Stonks and Fabi battling further down the field. They're now side by side into the right hand with turn number 5. And Fabi gets caught up on the inside curb. And that brings the position for Stonks. Stonks hangs on to P13. Fabi in 14th, Debrak in 15th. You couldn't see if this race was boring. Far from it. It has been fantastic in the sprint. Feature race still to come. Wilson, though, leading the way and is now beginning to try and assert his dominance over his teammate out in front, 7/10 of a second, doing a fantastic job. But at this stage, it seems like Xbox have the advantage over the over the PlayStation guys. Certainly with Tom struggles in 5th, Marcados there in 6th, doing a good job. But Wilson and Sav coming through the final couple of corners. I'll let you commentate the finish.
Well, we've barely spoken about them at all this race. It's not because they haven't driven race. It's because they've driven nearly the perfect race. Wilson leading from start to finish. His teammate happy just to sit behind him and not fight him too much. But the Red Bulls are 1-2 for them. It has been phenomenal for PSR Wilson in the sprint race. As for Sav, and across the line they go. Rusty managing to get P3.
Skyther and Magician, pretty much a drag race to the line, and Skyther gets him on the line, gets 7th position ahead of Magician, 0.04 of a second separating. He had a brilliant run coming out of turn 19, and Magician just lacked in terms of his ERS, 2% ERS there less than Skyther at the end of the race, and Skyther gets him, gets 7th position. Fantastic stuff and fantastic racing throughout the field.
That wasn't the only photo finish either. McCabe, Sam and Levi giving it some as well. What a start to this. Azerbaijani Grand Prix. It is going to be incredible to continue watching through this one as we just wait for, I believe it could be, Jensen and Fern as they come through. There's Jensen not having the best of race, unfortunately. No front wing as he crosses the line. I'm sure he's happy that one's over. And Fern, unfortunately for him, didn't have a chance of doing many laps because he left quite early doors on that. But a very, very interesting race, that I should say. Very Yoda-like that was of me as well, so I do apologise. But driver of the sprint race has gone to Smokey. Would you agree with that assessment, James?
Yeah, deserve it actually, because he gained 3 positions off the start. He finished 4th in the end, was challenging Rusty all the way to the line, got ahead of Tom. Yeah, Smokey, I think, pretty solid sprint race driver today, as Wilson, of course, takes the sprint race win from Sav there in 2nd, and Red Bull 1-2. Where have we seen that before in Formula 1? Hopefully, maybe the side of things to come in the season with the unchanged Red Bull in real life. Rusty there in third, with Smokey in fourth, Tom there in fifth, Markador's there in sixth, Sky there in seventh, of course, getting Magician on the line. Kimber there in ninth. He did a solid job, I think, down in ninth position as well. Levi there in 10th, McCabe Sam there in 11th, Nick there in 12th, Stonks in 13th, Fabi in 14th. Fortunately for Fabi, I think he had a mistake a little bit earlier on. Ibraka 15th, Sinderi 16th, Axe there in 17th, Jensen down in 18th, Season 12 champion. Where has his pace gone? Fern there in 19th, and Choco out of the race very early on. But now, with the feature race up and coming, should be really interesting. And I'm just going to say this now, all hell is going to break loose.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me at all. See, the game's given it to Smokey, and you've agreed. You know what? I would have given it to Markados, because he's very, very entertaining to watch that, and I've thoroughly enjoyed his positioning and that switch back through turn one as well. Absolutely incredible from the McLaren driver. But that's only the sprint race. We've got so much more action to come for this Baku Grand Prix. Now, if memory serves me correctly, I think it's 26 laps.
It is.
There we go. The old grey matter is working inside my head. But yeah, so instead of 9, it's 26 laps of these for these guys to get themselves through. And you know what? There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure for them to make sure, because all it takes is one just clip of a wall wrong and front wing end plate. It could happen to Wilson and Sav, to Rusty, any of the major players, Tom included as well, and it just sets people off, and they're struggling until pit stop, or if they've had their pit stop, there's no point pitting. Well, it feels like there's no point pitting because you lose so much time.
Yeah, definitely so. And the track is so unforgiving, I think, with that matter. One contact of the wall, one mistake, one outside curb spin, as we nearly saw with Markados. He pretty much got away with that. But in the feature race, you're not going to get away with mistakes like that. Not lap upon lap. This track is unforgiving. Frankie, by the way, in the comment section saying, OMG, I think he's surprised that he sees me actually on camera for once, rather than actually seeing me just speaking through a microphone. We are still waiting, I think, for the lobby to get back underway. Certainly the 30-second countdown. Oh, it literally has just came on the left-hand side, which is good to see. And now I'm going to put to you, because you asked me, of course, for the sprint race. Who was your top 3 for the feature, Mr. Gareth Davies?
Oh, wow, okay. I don't usually get this. I usually get this in before anyone can ask me, so I don't have to. You know what? It's going to be very, very difficult to say. Either Red Bull driver being in the top 2 spots. But you know what? I'm going to back the McLaren driver to get a podium out of this. Markados was incredible through that. It looked like he had better race pace than qualifying pace. But I suppose it's time for us to get to the action. 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights for the feature race of Tier 1, and underway we go. And it looks like a pretty good start for that McLaren driver underway. He's got past Tom already. He's trying to get past, and the Red Bulls have hit. It's reminiscent, and Rusty has taken the lead for this Grand Prix. All of a sudden, the Red Bull drivers are hitting each other. Smokey in second. Third is Markados. Sizer and Tom battling away as well. What did you see through that as well, James?
I think Sav has actually outbroken into the back of Wilson, and therefore has collected him. And I'm not sure if there was a bit of secondary contact as well. There's more secondary contact because Tom has been spun by Axie there further down the field. So Tom, he was up there in the field. He's down the escape road, lost his front wing completely. Right side end plate is certainly gone. Oh, the left side end plate certainly is gone on the car. But Rusty now leads the way from Smokey in second. Skater there in third. Markados and Magician are fighting side by side. And actually now Sam McCabe is taking the inside line, trying to go around the outside, actually coming through and towards the castle section, and they're side by side into the castle section. This is not glimmers of hope, certainly from me, in my perspective, lead commentary around here. But Markados there in fourth, Magician in fifth. It happened immediately, though, between Sav and Wilson. Wilson is fortunate. He's there in 15th. Axie, Stonks, Tom all going to call up in collision. Gibraka, separate collision as well. But Sav, down in 20th position, pretty much out of contention. Gibraka's just crashed through the castle section there as well. He's rejoined track, I think. But Rusty is handed this race completely on a plate early on. And unfortunately, I think Sav just completely outbroke himself and took out his teammate. It's reminiscent of Verstappen and Ricardo.
Oh, wow. What have we witnessed through that? And I feel like I've jinxed Tom. I said I hoped he didn't have a crash on lap 1, and all of a sudden he has lost it. There's going to be pit stay. There is that VSC that you've quite rightly mentioned, which might save some of these drivers. Let's have a look at the tyres people have used. They're all on a set of hards, so it's going to be an interesting one. This is...
Nick
wow.
is into the pit lane. Sav, by the way, is the one that has lost his front wing completely. Nick, by the way, has also got a T-tray, as I like to call it. Complete front wing damage on that car. He is coming into the pit lane. Axie in, Stonks in, Choco in, Wilson in, Tom is in. Literally, as I said, unforgiving track, and 8 drivers are into the pit lane at the end of lap 1. I did warn you all hell could break loose.
I mean, you gave fair warning to everyone, and a VSC does help them, but we're back underway, so they haven't lost as much time as possible. But Magician getting past Markados through that, caught him napping, and I think McCabe Sam is having a go as well, but it's not happening at the moment. But Rusty and Smokey pulling away from Cider by a little bit, two seconds in 2 laps, which will be music to their ears. But it feels like we've got 2 races going on at once now, because the guys from P13 down are going to have their own separate race, it feels.
They are indeed, and that Stonks on the back of Wilson. I think Wilson's just got through actually on Stonks, so he's in P16 in the Red Bull. Everyone that came into the pit lane at the end of that VSC as well, they all came in pretty much for a set of soft compounded tyres. They have to try and go that, and then maybe for a set of mediums a little bit later on. Choco, however, in 15th position, went for a set of medium compounded tyres, so he might be playing it on ear in terms of the strategy call. Normally around here, certainly from the PlayStation side, I'm not sure what it might be like on the Xbox side, as Wilson has crashed coming out of, I think that is turn 7. And Wilson has caused another VSC out on track, and that is straight on, down in towards turn number 7. So I wonder if he just either cried wolf, had enough, or if he's just gone completely straight on, outbroke himself in towards turn number 7. But whatever the case, an absolute disaster for the guys who qualified 1st and 2nd in the sprint.
Talk about change of fortunes for those. It is not worked out as well at all, and PSR Wilson is going to be fuming. He is really, really unfortunate for him. And from 1st and 2nd in the sprint race, they're now 19th and 20th in the feature, and that is mental. We're back underway racing. We've had 2 VSCs here at Azerbaijan in this race alone. We haven't had anything in the sprint race, but it seems to have all kicked off here. Cider then being followed closely by Magician, who's managed to shake Markados off. And you know what? We're both wrong with who we thought were going to be on the podium, because Sav and Wilson not there at all, and it was going to take a miracle for Sav to get there, and I'm not sure what it's going to take for Wilson to be on the podium.
Yeah, honestly, they need safety car after safety car, I think, in this race to get back into it, because they really need a bit of a stroke of luck, a stroke of genius, a miracle from somewhere, I think, out on track. Rusty, though, leading the way. Smokey in 2nd is the age-old battle of the Season 13 guys, of course, in Xbox, which is very good to see. And Smokey is just biding his time. He's got 70% of ERS at this stage. Rusty has got 100%, a full battery to use up at this stage. And that, of course, if Smokey just decided to attack him, he obviously is not going to be really attacked, because Rusty has got that ERS to use up. He's got 95% now running down the straight, and Smokey is gaining in the ground. But I don't think we'll see moves this early on, certainly in the race. Perhaps further down the field, I know Jensen has eyeing up a potential move on Fern, coming through the kinks of 18, 19 and 20. But yeah, I think everyone's just running a bit of line of stern. As I say, 2 races split into one. Skyler's just at the fastest lap of the race as well, with 143.5. He's currently running there in 3rd. And the American has done a good job as Stonks is out of the race, coming out of turn 15, top of the hill at turn 15. And that is a safety car. Safety car out on track. So there you go, Sam. There is your luck. There's your miracle. Go right there. Safety car now out on track. Rusty leads the way, Smokey in 2nd, Skyler there in 3rd. And it's too early for everyone to come in from a set of hard compound tyres. They're going to have to try and stick out, certainly on this safety car period. Everyone else on a set of softs, they're not going to like it either. I don't think the safety car actually works for anyone.
It might work for Sav. I think the only person it's going to work for is Sav. Into the pits goes Choco. I think these guys are going to throw on a set of hards, get to the back of this grid. They're going to be slightly younger. Sav doesn't actually go into the pits, so that's an interesting one. Choco is going on to that set of hards. It'll be very, very difficult. I think nearly impossible to go to the end of the Grand Prix, but they'll try. And if another safety car comes out, they can try again. I mean, okay, we've had 2 virtuals and a full safety car, but Choco knows he can go that little bit longer in comparison to everyone else because they've got their race to run. They know they have to go onto that medium. And say if he stays out, the safety car, another safety car comes out, say lap 19, and he's still out. He's got that option to, well, he's probably going to be fourth or fifth to go into the pits, and be able to, pull a shock result out. But I mean, what you were mentioning in the sprint race of having the abundance of safety cars, virtual and full, it's happened here tonight. Maybe you're the safety car Baku king.
I think I am. I think I've commentated long enough, I'm sure, around here to see when the safety cars might be preempted out on track. But it is unfortunate for the guys. Of course, the centre hard runners actually staying out on track. They can't come in the pit lane. It's too early to come in the pit lane. And then it's too late, of course, to go into a set of medium compound tyres because they're not going to get to the end of the race. If they're stuck on a set of softs, they're not going to get to the end of the race. And everyone on the set of softs, they're not going to get to the end of the race either. So, as I say, it really doesn't work out for anyone. Choco on that set of mediums and your Bracker came into that set of hards. They're going to work as actually Nick finally comes into the pit lane. So maybe we're seeing the soft runners now come in the pit lane behind the safety car. Certainly Nick has came into the pit lane. But now this really brings about a big change up as actually he's got a front wing changes next. So that's why he has come into the pit lane. Tom is also into the pit lane. So I wonder if he's picked up maybe a little bit of damage or maybe to do that mandatory 2-stop, of course. He could go set of hards. Normally from PlayStation side, I would say 20 laps on a set of hards is doable, but only if you're good on your tyres. And Tom has got a front wing change. I think with a full left side end plate that was missing on the car. So he is going to transition onto that set of hards and hope that he can get to the end of the race. But everyone in front are in a real good sense. And this train obviously goes down to 12th position at the stage. Jensen there is on the back of the train. He currently, I think, needs a little bit of luck. He's got Fernand Cindery, I should say, ahead. It's because I'm looking on the left-hand side of my screen where I'm commentating from. Rusty, they're leading the way, Smokey in second, Skate in third. If you just tuned in at this stage, it's lap 5 out of 26. We've had 2 VSCs and a safety car, and we've only had 2 laps of racing.
Yeah, it's been an absolute nuts one at the moment. And you know what? The sprint race wasn't like this at all, was it? It's gone from one extreme to another. We've had strategic sprint race where people were just a little bit subdued. And I think they got a little bit excited when they saw 26 laps. They thought we could do whatever we want. And now, all of a sudden, we've got 2 virtuals and a full safety car with, as you quite rightly mentioned, only 2 laps, if 2 laps of racing, to be honest. It doesn't feel like we've had that much. But heading into lap 6, Rusty leads the way, and we have lost pole sitter and sprint race winner of PSR, Wilson. And a penny for his thoughts right now, because I reckon he is going to be fuming.
He is going to be absolutely livid. Not only with his teammate, I think there might have been secondary contact potentially in towards turn number 1 as well. So obviously the stewards, of course, will have a look at those incidents. Of course, they'll get reported. I'm sure Wilson will be straight in from his POV. Certainly, if that POV comes in, certainly in the stewards reports that I can see, or don't have access to them, but if they do come in the stewards reports and his POV is uploaded on social media, I will have a look at it, and I'll have a look, of course, at his POV and then report it to you guys, of course, in the comment section. Speaking of the comment section as well, Crispy there in the chat also saying the game is glitched. Half have new mediums, half have no mediums, and some have no hards. And yeah, it is unfortunate. They did a recent patch update, I think it was about 3 weeks ago now. They did the recent patch update. They added this mandatory 2-stop, of course, a few months ago. But again, it comes back to the point that the games are glitching, the tyres are certainly glitching. Certainly on our screen, everyone's on a set of hards, and your brackets now came into the pit lane on a set of softs. But it really brings about, because we saw Max Verstappen, of course, with his EA branding on the Red Bull. He's going to be potentially cover star for the next game. It does bring you that point. Are we going to see improvements into the next game? And that is certainly one of the issues of many that I think they're going to be fixing. But Rusty out on top, Smokey in second, Skaven third. We could go completely off cuff and create a podcast, a WOR podcast, with how bad this game is. But we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it professional. But Rusty's out on top, Smokey there in second, Skyler there in third, and we are on lap 6 out of 26 of the safety car. I think is going to be coming in next lap, because your Bracker has actually came into the pit lane for some hards.
Yeah, there's no mention of a safety car coming in, and I reckon all the commentators on these league races could possibly write a series of how not to build an F1 game. But we will like you quite rightly mentioned, keep it professional. Safety car's probably going to stay out one more lap. And, as a driver, when do you reckon? I mean, we've probably got another lap. Well, we do have another lap to a minimum of one to talk about this. When do you go at Baku? When do you start? Do you go early or do you go late? Because it's such a long back straight. It's going to be difficult to catch anyone out, but it's also going to be difficult to overtake anyone.
Well, the safety car normally comes in, I think it's just before turn 16 or 17. The left-hander at the end of the middle sector is where the safety car normally comes in. Yubaka, by the way, just to come on to a different point, he, I think, has just had another crash coming through the castle section. He's there down in 18th position, recovered the car, not sure what happened. He made contact with the wall, so might be that he comes back in the pit lane. But yeah, coming down in towards turn 16, that left-hander is normally the place where the safety car comes in, and then you've got all of that straight. So really, I think it depends on the driver. I think from Rusty's perspective, I'd be going as late as possible just to try and force maybe a little bit of contact further down the field, maybe just to try and force each other and some moves to obviously be created further down the field as well. So I think Rusty doesn't want to do a Mugello 2020 because we all know how that ended, a 5-car collision. We do not want to see that. Rusty, of course, is an absolute goat at his game. He is the top of the Xbox guys, of course, here so far in WOR Season 14. And Rusty there, leading the way, has got a hope, I think, to go a little bit late, put Smokey under a bit of pressure, put Skyler under a bit of pressure. Rusty's certainly got the pace. I think he needs to show it now, up until when pit stops happen, which are probably, from a set of hard point of view, going to be from around lap 15, lap 16 onwards.
Yeah, and for those of you who have just joined, we've had, well, a very entertaining sprint race where the two Red Bulls flew away with it, but they didn't even make it to turn one without contact. They managed to get collided with each other, and that is not ideal for those guys. Still no safety car. Ah, there we go. Just as I start mentioning it, the safety car message comes to light. Rusty then will become the de facto safety car as he comes through these final few corners now. This kinky little bit from 16 to 20. And I wonder when he decides to go. Cider is holding up a little bit more than possibly allowed. He's got to be careful. He doesn't want to get too far behind. But there goes a perfect angle there of everyone just warming up their tyres. When does Rusty decide to go? I think he's going to leave it quite late for this one as he nearly takes out Smokey. As Smokey tries to dart up the inside as Rusty very much keeping those tyres going. And there we go. We are off as they come down the back or the start-finish straight. And it looks like Magician's had a great get-go from this as he tries to go around the outside of Scyther, but it's not happening on this occasion. Nick getting past Jensen and Fern. What is going on back there?
Nick absolutely sent a dive down the inside line. That's what happened there. Fern was in the wall, I think, right side end plate damage potentially on the car, but Nick absolutely sent it down the inside line. There was no way he was getting that car stopped. And in fact, actually, Nick has gone completely straight on in the background once again. So not sure what his plan was there, but Nick down in 18th position, the PSR man, who you favoured, of course, in qualifying, may I add, as well. He's down there in 18th position, not doing a great job. But Rusty out on top, Smokey in second, Skaven third. And actually, Rusty went a little bit earlier than what even I was saying. So, Rusty trying to force Smokey now under pressure. Skyler has certainly got a bit of pace about him. He's there 5 tenths away. But Markadors is the man to watch out for. He has got a really good setup on that car. I certainly want a piece of that setup after tonight. But Markadors there in 5th, doing a good job. He's on the back of Magician. And maybe Markadors wants to eat Magician's own words in front of him.
Oh, there is someone in the wall. That's Fabi with no front wing through the castle section. And I just saw this front wing pop up. Sorry to cut off from you. But that, unfortunate for Fabi because he was having a good recovery drive.
Fern's also lost his front wing as well.
And another virtual safety car.
Oh, that third one of tonight? I don't think it's the last.
No, we will continue as things stand. And the flex from PSR earlier saying they were 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, they've only got a 3 right now. Thank you, VSR Jack, for the information. They are currently 18th, 19th and 20th. With Sav in 12th place. Sav, though, it's all work for Sav. I say it's all work for Sav. He's back into P12. Choco behind Jensen trying to make a move as well. Kimber dropping away, but got Levi all over the back of him. There's a couple of pit stops. I think that could be Sav going into the pits. Has Sav got damage? Sav does
Right,
have
so
damage. He's caught up in more incidents. It's not the Red Bull's night at all. Sindri being passed by Jensen, and here comes Choco on the other Alpha Tauri of Sindri as well, and he's got the move done. He's hunting Jensen, I think, Choco. He wants as many positions as possible. He's not had the best of sprint races, and he wants a little bit of return, but a switchback is on for Sindri, but it wasn't to be, and that's Choco back up into P10.
yeah, beautiful move from Choco. Got the job done very nicely indeed on Sindri. Sindri actually looked again into turn number 4, and he clips the wall actually on the inside, coming through 6 and then through the right hander there of turn number 7 before, of course, we get to the castle section with the flame towers towering over the circuit there in the foreground of the shot. But Sindri on the back of Choco, he looks really quick. Jensen now, though, was in a bit of clear air. 2 seconds now the gap to Levi. He has lost that DRS train. There was a split actually further up the field. I think it was Timber and Levi who was split off by a second as well. They're back inside of a second, so that is fortunate for him. Jensen, though, is going to be going nowhere quickly because he's got no DRS in front of him. He's certainly got ERS to try and burn. He is a quick driver in his day. Baku, though, is not the sort of track I expect them to be really pacey at, as Levi is again all over the back of Kimber, coming through 16, 17, and then through the kinks of 18, 19, and 20. But Rusty out on top, Smokey there in second, Skyler there in third. Tommy Tab's just playing about there a little bit on the left-hand side, but Levi now, the NRX man, looking on the back of the PSR man, down in towards turn 1, using the ERS. He's hardly got any speed, though. No DRS, of course, enabled for another couple of laps, as Rusty now sets the fastest lap of the race. And in the end, I think Levi is not going to go for the move. He sets the fastest lap of the race. 43 flat, doesn't go for the move. He has to wait for that DRS, I think. Otherwise, he's got no pace, and therefore, Jensen, if he's got the cornering speed, he's going to get back into the race.
Yeah, this is exactly what they need to... Well, Jensen needs, but not what Levi needs as he gets close again. But Kimber, that DRS is helping now to catch back up with McCabe Sam. Is there anything else on screen that's happening? No, I think not right now. It's either keeping up with Smokey, but Rusty's got the measure of everyone at the moment and he's starting to pull away a little bit.
Yeah, he is starting to pull away a bit. He's beginning to maybe a certain bit of dominance potentially over the race, even though it hasn't looked dominant at all. We've had the 3 VSCs, we had the safety car, which has brought a real chop and change, as actually Rusty nearly hits the wall coming out of turn number 7. Goodness me, that was close to the wall on the left-hand side end plate. I think he got away with it. It certainly lost him time. Smokey realised that. He might now be on the DRS to try and get, of course, that move for the race lead. But we have still got the pit stop still to come. Smokey there in second. I think it's just playing it very nicely. He's creeping into the race, and this is the sort of driving style that I like to see, certainly from the PlayStation side. These guys mirroring it, of course, here on Xbox, and with the crossplay, of course. But Magician on the back of Skyler, 3rd and 4th position. Skyler did have good pace, and now Magician, someone has made the magic wand at that car and is literally so quick coming through turn 19 and then to the right hand of turn number 20. On the run down now in towards turn number 1. DRS is enabled this lap, so he might actually try and get the move done, as Levi is through on Kimber in the background of shot, so he's through into 7th. Kimber there down into 8th, but in the end, Magician is not close enough, not enticed at all by that move. McCabe Sam, is he enticed by a move on the back of Marcos? No, not quite. And Choco, coming from a mile back on the back of Jensen, he's not close enough either. The remain as they are on to lap 11 out of 26.
Yeah, this is as PSL. Nick gets the fastest lap of the race down in 14th place. He's gone board with Cider as McCabe Sam getting past Marcados. That was a little bit out of nowhere, but the McLaren looked like he had a little bit of a back-end problem there. It just seemed to wiggle a little bit, so not great for him. Sav now picking up the fastest lap in P15, very deep into turn 4 there for McCabe Sam, and that's not ideal.
Yeah, Marcados, I think, might have hit the wall potentially on the exit of turn number 3 with the rear end, as you mentioned, and that's why McCabe Sam obviously got that move done. Marcados, though, again, he's back on it literally straight away. He honestly is one of the most improved drivers on PlayStation. Let me tell you that right now, because he has been phenomenal in PSGL, in other leagues as well. But in PSGL, he's really got his racecraft going in the second half of this game cycle. And Marcados now trying to prove me wrong in terms of putting him in terms of the podium predictions, because he is looking really, really quick. A bit sideways there, coming down to 14 off an off-camber corner. Marcados again. Down the straight, he looks really, really quick. And then McLaren, he's got 54% of ERS. Levi, however, is on the back of him. There's another yellow flag, and that's Gibraltar again. I think it's the 4th or 5th time now he's been in the walls, out on track in the McLaren. He's down there in 18th. VIR man is out of his comfort zone right down there at the back of the field, obviously with incidents caused Marcos again under pressure from Levi coming down the straight. There's another yellow flag, and that's Fabi that has crashed at the top of the castle section out of turn number 12, and that is a second safety car of tonight. And actually, we see drivers coming in the pit lane, and it's actually Marcos and Levi who lead them all in.
Yeah, that's an interesting one as well. And these guys probably, with the way things have gone, are likely to save those mediums that little bit further because obviously life under the safety car is not as stressful as full throttle when there's no safety car. So they might, if we have a few more, it could all pan out for their ways. They're gonna, have a few drivers ahead. I wonder what Rusty does. I wonder what Smokey does. I wonder what Cider does. It's an interesting one, but a fan favourite here at WOR, McCabe Sam in P5. The chat might very well go wild for him to do well tonight. But yeah, what does Rusty need to do? I think is the best question to ask to be able to pull away without having someone ruin it with a safety car.
I think, honestly, it's become tactical in the first half of the race. I mean, we're not even through the halfway stage yet, but I think it's been tactical between the front two. Smokey doesn't want to use his ERS, and when he does, he's not close enough and doesn't have the speed. Rusty there doesn't want to use his ERS. He's got 100% of ERS now in the safety car as Sav has picked up a drive-through penalty. Can you get worse luck from the Red Bull perspective? It has gone from bad to worse. He got collected by his teammate at turn number 1, or he collected his teammate, I should say, at turn number 1. Then he's had spins in the wall. Then he's had 3 VSCs and 2 safety cars to deal with. And now he's just picked up a drive-through penalty. It is an absolute hellish night from Sav. And Sav, I think, will be pretty much wanting me not to come back next week.
Yeah, what did they do to you? Why to do so much commentary curse on them? But let's see what Rusty does. Does he decide to stay out? Does he decide to go into the pits?
He's in.
Is he going to fake it? He does not. It is pit stop for him. Pit stop for Rusty and everyone else, it looks like, at this point.
Kimber stays out.
Interesting. PSR Kimber deciding, I'm banking on another safety car. Now, I wonder if Markados is going to take effective lead of this Grand Prix. Where is Rusty? No, I think he's too far back. Markados is in the pits.
He is in the pit lane, and he's actually slowing himself down. 8th gear in the pit lane. There's no McLaren coming out the pit lane ahead of him. Your Bracker's on the other side of the track, so I'm not sure what was going on there with Markados. Front wing change, though. Front wing change. And again, his race has been plagued with front wing changes. I think he's had at least 2 in this race. And Markados, his pace, he is very consistent on his day. It's let down, though, by little bits of contact with the wall. And unfortunately, from his perspective, he's there down in 15th position. And unfortunately, that's gone bad to worse from him. And it's gone even worse. It's got even worse from Markados' perspective because he's spun coming out of the pit lane, been reset the track, and he's got left side end plate damage.
Oh, absolute heartbreak for the McLaren driver. And, yeah, not ideal for him at all. And it's going to be both McLarens at the back of the grid as things stand. And the safety car is going to be out for a little while. And there goes Markados. He decides enough is enough. Or did he get in? Yeah.
That is. Was that straight on down the escape road?
Looks like it. I don't know if he got issues with PSR Fern because they were very close together at that stage. But yeah, not ideal at all. And we've lost 4 drivers tonight so far. PSR Wilson, after getting caught up with an incident at turn 1 while leading with his teammate, the one rule you don't want to break. We've lost Stonks, Fabi and Markados as well. And Markados is the latest of the victims to fall at Azerbaijan. And we are now halfway through this race, James, and my goodness, we've had a lot of action for very little racing.
We have, and normally at this point I say the second half of the race is going to be better than the first half, and I think it has to be. It has to be, surely, because we cannot get a worse second half of the race than compared to what we've had with 3 VSCs and 2 safety cars in the first half of the race and about 4 laps worth of racing. This is, I think, one of the reasons where Luke Humphries didn't accidentally put Baku on the calendar until season 14. Last time we came here was in season 10 on the Xbox side, Antoine took the race win. Smasher there in second, Brown there in third last time we came here. And I think might be the last time for a while, judging by how we've had this race so far. Luke is going to be looking certainly in the comment section thinking, yeah, I shouldn't really put this on. But it is the nature of the beast. It is the nature of the track. Tom and Sindri were just swapping positions further down the field. And speaking of Tom, he's on a lap fresher tyres compared to Levi. Levi's obviously got track position over him. Tom, though, second half of the race, if he can put all of his woes in that sprint race to one side, and he has got good pace now in the second half of the race, I'd be very interested to see where he ends up, because he is normally the king of Baku. Whether or not that is going to be the case by the end of tonight remains to be seen, but he has got good pace, and I'm hoping he shows that in the second half.
Yeah, we'll wait and see for Tom. I reckon the race will be back underway on lap 15, and Kimber then will get us underway for this one. I think the two back markers, the two drivers of Fern and Jabaraka will catch back up in time. But yeah, Kimber, what will he do? One hard compound of tyres against fresh tyres for Rusty. He's going to have to go at a certain point that catches Rusty out, or otherwise he's going to be gobbled up into turn one.
He will be, but I'm looking down the field, and I think what is going to happen is Kimber's going to back up the pack. Rusty and Smokey are going to be backed up into each other. The safety car, I don't think, is going to come in this lap. It might be a very late call if it is. But I think Kimber is actually going to try and benefit Skyver there in fourth. Skyver, of course, and Kimber, both part of the same team, both part of PSR. Why wouldn't you help out your teammate, especially when they're on a set of medium compound tyres? They're in the fight for the race lead. I know that might not be allowed in WOR, but certainly from their perspective, it seems like a go-to strategy. Certainly from Kimber's perspective, your backer, by the way, is not going to catch the back of the safety car, so we are going to get one more lap under this. But Kimber needs to go as late as possible. We saw where Rusty did it, and that was pretty much where the pit lane actually is, where he went just before that. And Kimber needs to do the same. I think even later, maybe Magello's style, down in towards turn number one, back up the pack, and Skyver could be right there to seize the opposition and to seize the positions ahead.
And don't forget about Magician and Sam as well. Magician has been pretty racy through all this, and McCabe Sam has gone about his business quite quietly, and he's up into P6. It will be P5 once Kimber has decided to pit. Interesting strategy from Sab, but obviously we can't forget Sab has got that drive-through penalty to take as well. And Markados then saying his wheel disconnected 2 times within a minute. He has had just as torrid luck. Maybe not as bad, but close to it. If you're going to have bad luck as much as the Red Bulls have tonight, that's as close as you're going to get, I think.
Oh, definitely. And Sav, remember, has still got to serve that drive-through penalty once everything goes on as well. I think, spent under the safety car, which is why he picked up that drive-through. And he's down in 14th position. He'd be hoping for safety car after safety car just to end off this race, I think, because it has been a night of misery for the Red Bull man. A night completely to forget. As I said earlier on, I don't think he'll be wanting me back next week. And speaking of which, he's actually just lost the position to Fern, which I'm not sure what has gone on there, so it couldn't get any worse, but he has just lost the position to Fern as well, so I'm not sure if he's made a mistake. Not sure what happened there. Fern now ahead of him. Sav there in 15th. Ibraka there in 2nd. Is on the back of the safety car queue. Kimber, though, leads the way. And Rusty there in 2nd. Smokey there in 3rd. The Ultimate Parody account, by the way, also in the comment section. Codemasters F1 in the chat asking where's Yarno. Yarno is appearing Sunday night, PCF1, at, I believe, 7 p.m. UK time.
There we go. The man knows. And no comment about the parody account. But anyway, Rusty then getting close to Kimber, freshening those, dead fresh tyres. Oh, that's not a way to describe fresh tyres, is it? Incredibly fresh tyres for Rusty. And we will wait and see what he does, as Kimber then is going to be the de facto safety car. He's while it has been under the safety car, he has led the race for a few laps. So he'll be pretty happy with that. He can turn around and go, you know what? I led a WR Tier 1 race. I'm sure he'll be happy. I wonder when he's gone really early. Kimber has gone incredibly early. You know what? I think that's worked to a degree on Rusty. Smokey and Scyther getting incredibly close together as well. Looking from the back point of view of Rusty as they come down the start-finish straight. Will Scyther go up the inside of Smokey? He will not. There's no contact between the two of them. And it's pretty clear racing there. And Kimber, that wasn't a bad safety car restart from him, to be perfectly honest.
Definitely not. He's a bit sideways there coming out of turn number 3. Tom and Levi, I think, have made a little bit of contact further down the field. Tom is certainly dropping down the field. But Kimber, really good restart. And this has actually benefited Skyler, who goes to the inside on and Smokey at turn number 3. Backs out very much at the last minute, but he tried to go for the move. Literally, what I say potentially could be coming true. He's trying to back up the pack into Skyler. Skyler, in the end, trying to look for Smokey there. In the end, he's there in P4, doing a fantastic job. McCabe Sam as well, now hunting on the back of Magician. These 6 are now beginning to pull away. Sindri, as I mentioned, with a bit of contact with Tom and Levi. Both of them are now dropping down. And Jensen, all of a sudden, is beginning to come into the race as well. The Season 12 champion from the PS tier. He is doing a fantastic job down in 9th. He has crept his way through the race. Normally, he does this in races that normally goes his way. And Jensen there in 9th might be one to watch out for later on. But Kimber tries to steal away out in front. These corners are going to be to Kimber's liking. There's not many corners to come up, though, because that big start-finish straight is going to have Rusty and Smokey's name all over it.
Yeah, and we've seen Rusty and Smokey dispatch of someone already down the start-finish straight. So can we see another time? There's a yellow flag, and I think that is
Comes in the wall.
Tom and Nick. Is it Nick as well? It's not ideal racing for those guys tonight, and unfortunate issues there. But let's look at it from a Smokey point of view as they come through turn 20. It looks like this is going to be a free wide thing for the lead of the race. Looking behind Quickside, there's nowhere. To the outside goes Smokey. There's just not enough straight line speed for him. There goes Rusty, but there's nothing deep. Oh wow! That is huge. That's deep pan pie fried pizza right there. Out of the way is Kimber, way gone into P10, and he's tried to help his PSR teammate, but it wasn't going to happen. Lap 17 of 26, and we've just lost our 5th driver.
If he was trying to make a break out of the circuit, then there's probably a better way of doing that. But honestly, that was so late on the brakes. He just completely locked himself up. He defended to the inside line. I guarantee you from his perspective, he was looking backwards, didn't realise his braking point, missed his braking point, then has gone too deep in towards turn 1. And now Rusty and Smokey back in the lead of the race. Skyler there in 3rd, Magician in 4th, McCabe Sam in 5th. Sindri is beginning to latch back on potentially onto the back of this train. They're coming into the castle section now, out on track. Lap 17 out of 26, as you mentioned. Jensen, though, is beginning to creep again into the race. Choco has had a very good second half of the race so far as well. He's there in 9th, doing a good job. The wheels spinning there in the Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo coming out of turn number 12. And Choco trying to chase down Jensen. Jensen again is the one. But the big split again is going to come potentially with Sindri. They're down in 6th. He's now back within that DRS range. That is going to be a big benefit to everyone in behind. Levi, Jensen and Choco more than certainly. Axel on the back of Kimber there as well. That could be a move down towards turn 1. Yabraka's not too far. And Yabraka, by the way, he was at the back of the safety car. Nick, Sav and Fern have all came in the pit lane. Tom also retired into the pit lane as well. And Yabraka now all of a sudden is in 12th position. Luck favours the brave sometimes, and Yabraka is taking every inch of it.
Well, this is appearing to be a race of attrition right now, and he could get some points, and that would be great for his debut within WR Tier 1 console. And Smokey trying his best to get to Rusty and do everything he can, maybe to break the PSR, DRS of Scyther behind, because Scyther's struggling a little bit at some points on this track. He's still got McCabe Sam and Magician all over the back of him. Sav obviously down in 14th with that drive-through penalty, which has struggled as well. Axe getting past Kimber, who is yet to pit, as Kimber deciding maybe for another safety car. I'm not sure what he's deciding right now, but he's got Jabraka all over the back of him at the moment, who could make up another position.
Oh, and Kimber nearly got pushed into the wall there from Axe in front of him, and Yabraka looks to the inside of turn number 7. This is not normally an opportunity for an overtaking move. This time around, beautiful stuff by Yabraka to the inside line. Absolutely outguns and outclasses Kimber coming in towards turn number 7. Beautiful stuff from him. In the end, Kimber got forced nearly into the wall. That unsettled the car, and Yabraka now through into 11th. And now Nick all of a sudden is back in this battle as well in 11th, 13th position. He's doing a phenomenal job. Rusty, though, leading the way, trying to break outside of that goal at 0.8 of a second. That golden ticket, which is the slipstream range around here. If he breaks him out of slipstream range, there's probably no getting back from Smokey's perspective. But Smokey has got 7% less ERS than Rusty, which is a bit of a concern. That, though, is better than what he had a little bit early on, where I think it was 62% to 100% a little bit early on in the race. Was Magician there in 4th, Cape Sam there in 5th, doing a good job. And Yabraka, is he looking on the back of Axon towards turn number 1? No, he's actually losing speed down the straight, and Axe there in 10th. Bracker there in 11th will remain as they are, as Kimber finally has actually been overtaken by Nick. I thought he was coming in the pit lane, but Nick is through, and he's into 12th. Kimber there in 13th. Easy move there. Savin Fern still down at the back of the field, and PSR 11, 12, 13th, and 12, 13, 14th, and 15th right now.
Yes, it's not ideal for them right now, but they do have Cider in third place, who is PSR as well, flying the flag for them. Magician looks like he's struggling through the end of Sector 1 in the beginning of Sector 2, but then has the pace throughout the rest of the lap, which could help him in his attack on Cider there as well. But right now, it seemed to have... I think the best way to describe it is settled itself down until... I'm sure they're going to throw everything at it for the final few laps.
Throwing it a bit too much, I think, because Smokey has just completely cut the inside of turn number 7 there. Gained a bit of an advantage, has lost that, though, coming out the exit of the castle section. It's now 6.5 tenths, and Rusty just looks really good. In terms of his all-round setup, he looks really, really good so far out on track. Smokey the same. Skyver there in 3rd. Magician is the one, though, that's beginning to creep into this race. He's there in 4th. On the back of Skyler. Now, I don't think he's going to get the job done. He's 6 tenths behind, but it was looking a lot closer than the last lap around. I think the big battles, though, are going to come potentially further down the field. I think it's Axie, Bracker, and Nick. They are certainly lining up for something potentially special in towards turn number 1. Don't want to ruin it in towards turn number 1, but Nick on the back of your Bracker there and Axe on the back of each other there as well. 10th, 11th, and 12th. And do you know what? I think we're going to see a first 3 wide of tonight as well, as here comes Nick on the back of your Bracker. But look at the straight line speed. They've hardly got any down the straight. Nick might pull to the inside line, doesn't decide to. Actually rear ends the back of your Bracker, goes into the back of him, and Axe still stays there in 10th. Nick there in 11th, unsettled by the outside curb, I think, and missed his braking point to boot. Your Bracker there in 12th. He has had wretched luck so far in this race. Kimber there in 13th is brought back in. He's yet to come in the pit lane. He'll be going for that fastest lap point, I am sure, as Nick again looks at Axe down in towards turn number 3. But in the end, not quite close enough. And unfortunately, Nick gets away with that instant for now. The stewards will want to look into that one if your Bracker does decide to report.
Yeah, that was a big moment for PSR Nick. Not ideal at all. Let's go back to the front of Smokey, Cider, Magician and McCabe Sam. Obviously, Rusty leading this train away at the moment. Cindery now 2 seconds away from it, so not ideal for him, but he's still going to get some good points, and that's, I think, all Cindery wants this season is just to continue getting points, and he's doing a good job of that at the moment. Smokey then half a second behind Rusty as they come through turn 15 for the 20th time tonight. Well, 20th time of this feature race, I should say. And Rusty, I think, is... I don't want to say playing games with these guys, but I think he knows his limits and he knows everyone else's.
Yeah, he does know everyone else's, and he's doing a phenomenal job. He's controlling the race out in front, and it's very rare to see a driver control a race of this stature and of this nature so easily. And that is honestly the bottom line of it. He's doing a fantastic job. He's the championship leader for no given reason, as he's been dominant so far in the first 2 races of the season. Smokey, by the way, just went a bit deep in towards turn 1, unsettled the car on the outside curb. But Rusty currently holding every answer to Smokey's questions at this stage. Those questions are going to get a bit more tougher and a bit more aggressive potentially as Nick is dropping down the field. Axe and your Bracker, I think, were going 3 wide potentially. Kimber there down in towards that part of the track is in behind. But Rusty leading the way, Smokey in second. Smokey now beginning to get on with things. And this is the Smokey that we like to see in Xbox. Trying to push now the driver in front. Rusty, the championship leader, needs to show a sign of weakness. Needs to show a sign that he can crack. Is Smokey about to put him in that pressure and make him crack?
This is nuts right now on board with Magician. But yeah, PSR Nick went deep into turn 1 and back end stepped out and hit the wall, so cost him big time. Magician then trying to get back at Smokey, but Cyther, but Cyther looking a little bit more of the racy out of the top 5 and getting at Smokey. So maybe Cyther is trying to size up a chance on the Mercedes driver, but at the moment, I'm not sure. It seems it could go any way.
It could go anyway. Skyler as well. He's 4 tenths away all of a sudden. This is now beginning to chop and change. And Smokey now it's sort of 7 tenths of a second. Currently in terms of ERS, because I've seen Jamie mention it in the comment section, in terms of the top 5 at least, Rusty is on 59% of EOS, Smokey's on 57, so about 2% difference in there. Sky's on 76, so he's got a lot more than the front 2. Magician on 47%, McCabe Sam on 0, and that is why he is struggling now on the back of this train, running down in towards turn number 1. Cindery, by the way, is on 17% in towards turn number 1, Levi on 3, Jensen on 3, Choco on 22. Axe and Yabraka were side by side. Yabraka gets the job done down the straight in towards turn number 1. So he still needs into oh, and there's a huge bit of contact. Nick into the back of Axe. Completely misses breaking bond. Completely hits the wall as well, coming out of turn number 1. That was real unsightedness there from the PSR man down in 12. Axe very lucky to get away with that. I'm not sure if he's got rear wing damage, but my goodness me, Nick has certainly got foot wing damage, and he's definitely coming in the pits.
Wow, that was a big incident for Nick. And I'm not sure what's going on with Nick, but that is not ideal for him at all. And now going to plummet down the order a little bit more. Sider definitely has the upper hand on most drivers through this middle sector because he gets so close to the back end of Smokey, but it just isn't enough. There's no overtaking opportunities for him through it. He possibly could have had something into turn 7, but like we saw Jabraka do as on, might very well have been Kimber earlier on in the race, but on lap 22 of 26, it's the top 5 of Rusty, Smokey, Cider, Magician and McCabe Sam, who are all back within a second of each other, and you know what, I'm not sure which way the podium's going to sit right now, James.
Honestly, this is going to come down final lap of the race, maybe even final 2 laps of the race. Normally we see, or normally I see, certainly from a PlayStation side, drivers going second, last lap of the race, penultimate lap of the race, down the straight and towards turn 1, they go for the move. And then they've got no ERS to defend off the following lap onto the final lap of the race. So Smokey has got to be clever here. He's got to try and put Rusty under a lot more pressure than what he's actually under at the minute. Because Rusty, as I say, has got every answer to Smokey's question at this stage. It is phenomenal to see the driving. Smokey, though, now beginning to get closer. He's about as close as I've ever seen him in the lead of this race as Nick has retired into the pit lane and sped into the pit lane as well. But Rusty has the answer to every single question that Smokey has got. Both of them sideways coming out of turn number 4, nearly sent them back into the wall. And now Skyler all of a sudden is back involved in this as well. They've got no difference in terms of the strategy calls. Everyone came in on the same lap. The top 5 are literally split by the tyre wear that the drivers individually have. And looking on board with Smokey, who was very wide there, coming out of turn number 7, now into the castle section, hits the wall on the inside line as well. Smokey now all of a sudden is really putting himself under pressure. And this is the mentality I talked about earlier on. Drivers putting themselves under pressure, getting into their own heads. Smokey is now doing this, and Rusty's now 6.5 tenths clear, and you do not want to let Rusty 6.5 tenths away.
No, and I think that's the problem for Smokey. He's given Cider just that, dangling that carrot in front of him to go, you know what, it's just not great for Smokey at all, but he's managed to pull a little bit of a gap to Cider through this, pulled away a little bit. But that through that sector is definitely not where you want to do that. Magician has dropped off massively as well from Cider. So it seems like it's a three-way battle for the lead of this Grand Prix. Smokey is closing in. Is he going to make a move on Rusty on lap 24 into turn 1? He thinks about it, but he thinks better of it. I thought he was going to career into the back end of that Haas then.
Jamie Johnson as well, I think, saying what everyone is saying now, tuning into the chat. What on earth has happened in this race? 3 VSCs, 2 safety cars, lap 24 out of 26, and about as much racing as we've got currently happening as Smokey is right on the back of Rusty, coming down in towards turn number 3. Is he going to try and put him under a full sense in towards turn number 3? In the end, Neil really ends him and actually unsettles the car himself, and again, Skyler is there to try and go around the outside of him. Now in towards turn number 4, but Rusty hangs on out in front, Smokey in second. He's getting into his own head, the VSR man in second. He doesn't need to do this. He doesn't want to put unwanted pressure on himself. Skyler there in third, doing a fantastic job. But if Smokey keeps making the mistakes, these little niggly errors that are going on right down in second, he is going to struggle to the end of the race. Skyler, Magician, McCabe Sam could be past him before the end of this race if he keeps making the same mistakes.
Yeah, those almost tank slappers for Smokey are not going to help his back tyres at all. And Rusty, in comparison, has been relatively smooth. There has been a few moments, but nothing as major as Smokey's right now. And here's Cider, again, all over the back of Smokey. This is the racing we want, just as close as you can get. Lap 24, heading into the penultimate lap. we are going to be. And Smokey managing to... Oh! Magician into the wall. Magician is out of the running for a podium. So McCabe Sam is going to be in no man's land. But it's now down to a top 3. Scyther doesn't have to worry about behind anymore. It's only about what's in front. And I don't know if Smokey's going to get close enough to Rusty.
Here he comes to the inside line. Is he going to try and get the job in towards turn 1? Yes, he does. To the inside line, the Mercedes goes. The Haas tries to force him up on the curb. Rusty just about hangs on. And Smokey now beginning to try and get aggressive. Too aggressive. Into the back of him. And now Skyler could get through and he spun. Rusty, the championship leader, is round. And Skyler now leads the race. Smokey there in second. McCabe Sam in third. Exactly what I've said literally 30 seconds ago has just happened. It is now let Skyler lead the way, Smokey in second. Of course there's going to be a steward's report by that. Smokey, too late on the brakes, missed his braking point into turn number 2, has collected the back of Rusty, championship leader round. Skyler leads the way, Smokey in second, McCabe Sam in third, and Rusty, what on earth has happened there? He's down and fourth, half spun by Smokey, and now Skyler potentially handed this race on an absolute silver platter.
What have we seen through all this? And I tell you what, we've barely spoken about this man, but he's in P3. McCabe Sam is in for an absolute hell of a points haul here tonight. He's just got to keep it on the track, and Scyther pulling away from Smokey as well. Smokey, I wonder if he's picked up front wing damage through that collision as well. We'll have to keep a close eye on that. But McCabe Sam could very well get P2 on track after a steward's inquiry. Might be even higher than that anyway. Wow, this is incredible stuff. Scyther, yeah, like you quite rightly mentioned, handed on a plate here. And pulling away, but Smokey seeming to be struggling. But Rusty, I think, is driving a little bit angry because he was nearly 2 seconds behind.
Oh, he was in the wall.
Oh my goodness.
And Jensen and Chocolate just about avoid him. The car is strewn completely over the circle. The rear wheels are off. And Jensen, by the way, is looking on the back of Chocolate. This is the latest battle that we've got. Jensen to the inside line. Best of the PlayStation, boys. Doesn't really matter at this stage. Jensen there into 6th. Chocolate there in 7th. He's done a good job. He just hasn't driven as consistently as what we normally see. Yellow flags, of course, are actually for Rusty, who's gone straight on, nearly down the escape road at turn number 2. And Cinder is now into 4th. And Jensen could be lapping up to a P5 finish here. This is unbelievable. Skyler, though, what is certain, he is going to take the race by no matter what happens, unless he's on the wall by the end of this race.
Rusty's out.
And Rusty is at the race.
What have we seen? This is just... Magician is just racing on. I think... Oh my goodness. I think they've taken these mediums a little bit too long. They're just not built for this. And some of these guys really struggling, and that's why it's going through. Rusty is going to be absolutely fuming. What can McCabe Sam do? I don't think he's going to be able to do anything on to Smokey, but he should get that P2 from Smokey after a steward's inquiry if it all comes through. Jensen up into P5. What a race for him. But we've got to go on board with this man. Scyther, he's the best of the rest. It's been absolute. Well, I say best of the rest. Is that Cindery into the wall? We're just continuing to have people go into the wall. But the man that's been able to not go into the wall, keep it in a straight line, not get himself caught out, is Scyther, the Aston Martin driver, coming through turn 19 now into 20 for the final time. And he's going to take victory in a very, very chaotic Azerbaijan Grand Prix. What a race for him. Congratulations. Smokey coming over there in P2. McCabe Sam doing a little spin for us for rounding out the podium points position here.
I'll tell you what, we could get another drag race for the line as well. Your bracket's right on the back of Magician, potentially coming to the line. I think it's going to be Magician's, though. Yes, it is. Magician stays ahead in 7. Your bracket tried everything, crashes into Sam McCabe's car as well, down there in P8. My, oh my, what on earth have we just seen? Skyler takes the win. Smokey there in 2nd. McCabe Sam in 3rd. What did I say at the start of the race? All hell will break loose? I think all hell has broken loose.
I think it's worse than that. I don't know if... I didn't know there was something that was worse than all hell breaking loose, but we've managed to find it here tonight. Baku, as the WR, I think it's Luke, quite rightly states, Baku delivers. It has delivered something. it's definitely delivered something, as there's a Ferrari reversing in front of Kimber. Interestingly, it looks like Kimber lets Sav through for that final point scoring position. Choco gets driver of the day. Oh my god. How do we decide this? Do we just de facto give it to Scyther for not getting caught in any incidents?
Might have to be. It might have to be. It was absolutely unreal, the racing. Scyther now to the top step of the podium, drives his way up to the top step of the podium, and an ultimate celebration that I think is going to go down in WR history. It's probably one of the worst, if I'm going to be frankly honest, but it is still a fantastic job from Scyther to take the race when he kept himself out of trouble. The trials and tribulations of Baku really delivered tonight. Rusty in the wall late on. Obviously, that turn one collision with Sav and Wilson. It was just absolutely... I cannot even... Honestly, if anybody had a camera on me during that race... My camera is still on, by the way. If anybody had a camera on me, I was speechless throughout half of that race, I think. But Skyler takes the win. Smokey in second, McCabe, Sam in third. And that is certainly not the top three that I was certainly thinking.
Definitely not. Definitely not. And it's probably not how it's going to be at the end by the end of Stewart reporting either. Sindri in fourth, fifth to Jensen, Choco in sixth, seventh to Magician, Jabraka getting points in eighth. Brilliant for him. Axe in ninth and Sav picking up the last point scoring position. Kimber, Fern, all finishing with Rusty, Levi, Nick, Tom, Mark Doz, Fabi, Stonks and Wilson all crashing out. And that somehow has happened here in WR Tier 1 tonight. You know what? I have no idea what we witnessed tonight. Pick the bones out of that, guys, because that is one to definitely pick the bones out of. I feel for the stewards. The stewards have a lot of work on their hands. It's the only way I can describe it. And I mean, as teammates, would you put a ticket against your teammate? Would you go to the stewards to, you know, the two PSR drivers look set to storm this race?
I think honestly, if it affected the race result, yes, I think they should. Even if it might cause a bit of Red Bull wars potentially, I would. I personally would. I'd try and get every single point out of the race as possible. Sav, I mean, how on earth is he in the points given what he went through? In the end, picking up P10. Kimber there, I think, giving them position because he picked up that fastest lap point. So potentially Kimber might get that as a de facto fastest lap. But I cannot believe what I've just seen. Honestly, the maddest race I think I've ever witnessed in Baku. And I want more of it. I really do.
I don't know if the stewards do. But it's great to see Baku on the calendar. Wow, I'm going to take an executive decision on this one. Let's not get podium interviews in tonight, just to be on the safe side. We are meant to be trying to be a PG stream. But James, I mean, thank you so much for filling in tonight. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Your final words on the Azerbaijani Grand Prix here tonight at WOR.
Can I describe it in one word, if that's possible?
Well, if it's possible, if you can find one word to do it, do it.
Mad. It was simply mad. And that is the best way I could describe that race. Honestly, go and watch that back. If you've just tuned into the stream now, you're probably thinking, what on earth has gone on? Go and watch this back afterwards, and you will see the pain that the driver's been put under. You will see the pain that we've been put under, having to commentate on this as well. But I would want to do it all over again, and hopefully WR will happen back once again, potentially. And it was obviously fantastic to be alongside you for the first time, Gareth. And I'm speechless. I really am, and I'm not often speechless.
Wow, this is an incredible one. Maybe not for the right reasons, but we've had an incredible stream tonight. Thank you so much for those who've watched. Thank you for the guys that managed to finish the Baku Grand Prix. You deserve a medal in yourself. But for myself and James, thank you so much for watching. We are back next week for the Belgium Grand Prix around Spa. It's going to be maybe less chaotic than this one, but I can assure you there is going to be action throughout. Once again, thank you so much. Catch you next time.